Hey everybody. Um, Before we get settled in, we have a minute. Uh, so please try to get yourselves comfortable, um, grab some water, and we'll be starting really soon. Make sure your laptop is charged, so try to find yourself a nice outlet, and we'll be starting in just a minute. Okay. So get nice and comfortable, nice and relaxed, and we're going to have a great Cloud Hero workshop today. Okay. So welcome to Cloud Hero. I'm Sahel Jaffrey. I'm the Developer Student Club lead at Stony Brook University. After this workshop, we'll be answering any questions on how to become involved with our university chapter of the Developer Student Clubs. And furthermore, I'd like to introduce the Googler that will be leading this workshop today. Please help me welcome Ryan Matsumoto.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Ryan Matsumoto. I'm a developer advocate at Google, based in the San Francisco office. And welcome to Cloud Hero. We're super excited to have everyone here today so we can introduce you to Google Cloud and all the amazing things you can do with our solutions and products.
So let's go over the agenda and what we're going to do today. We're going to learn more about the game itself and why we're playing it. We'll also hear from Ryan about some relevant solutions and what the possibilities are in using them. Then we'll move on to how to play and getting set up for the first lab. We'll be using Quick Labs for these labs, and after we've created a Quick Labs account, we'll enter the campaign code, and then we'll let the games begin. We'll close out the workshop with pro tips that'll assist you in completing the other three labs and have a quick Q&A. And so, yeah. Cloud computing can be a confusing term, but at the most basic level, it means that we're getting things done using someone else's computer. The definition you see on screen, of course, is not cloud computing. That's the definition of a literal cloud. But I like to think of it as a great metaphor, as we're constantly sharing our data to the cloud, and the cloud sends data right back to us, just like how rain evaporates, water evaporates, and then precipitates back. Google Cloud Platform allows us to use Google's computing infrastructure to help us run our applications. Does anyone want to guess what this photo is of? So this photo right here is a picture of one of Google's many data centers, which house the computing, storage, and networking resources that power Google's own product and services. This specific data center is in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And when you use Google Cloud Platform, you're essentially using a small slice of one of these data centers to help power your applications as a developer. So that's super cool. You get to use like what Google themselves are using, essentially. So what is Google Cloud? Google Cloud is a suite of secure storage, innovative ML, powerful compute, and integrated data analytics products and services. Equipping your team with the right skills can make or break your journey to the cloud. Traditionally, IT training has largely been centered around one piece of tech, but cloud technology requires a new way of learning. It's no longer just about learning and operating the technology, it requires a change in mindset. Google Cloud Training helps you understand how to use the technology within a job function to build the cloud solutions that drive cross-functional success. We have role-based learning to help your team thrive in the cloud-first world. Help them move from maintainers to strategists from innovators to disruptors. Cloud Hero is a virtual hands-on training event using the game functionality on Quick Labs to help technical practitioners gain skills through interactive learning in a fun and competitive environment. Cloud Hero brings developers together to compete against one another in gamified labs by using their Google Cloud skills. It's one of the many interactive products from the Higher Education Learning Center from Google Cloud. Overall, it's one of the many steps toward the path of gaining some perks and certificates. So here's an overview of the labs that are included with data and ML with BigQuery. Today's workshop will be focusing on the Quick Start command line lab. As you can see, there are 3 other labs, and each lab builds upon the lab that came before it. So I highly recommend them doing the labs in order. And after you've completed all the labs and you want to keep learning about Google Cloud, there are several ways to keep learning. And here on screen, you'll see a link that will help you continue your journey. The link is g.co/learncloud/programs. Participating in workshops like Cloud Hero, along with the other labs within the Learning Center from Google Cloud, can help individuals begin the collection of skill badges. And I'm sure you're wondering, what are skill badges? Skill badges are gained by completing a series of hands-on labs, including a final assessment challenge lab, to test your skills and earn a Google Cloud skill badge to share with your network. And this can be something you share with recruiters, something you share on LinkedIn, and so on. A challenge lab is a scenario-based lab where you have to take the steps to complete the task where there are no instructions and you rely on what you've learned in the previous labs. And on screen here, you'll see a brief overview of the multiple skill badges you can potentially earn. This Cloud Hero will be the step 1 of gaining the Data Machine Learning and AI badge. Completing the remaining 3 labs and the game will gain you a Cloud Hero skill badge that starts your path to catch them all. Why are collecting skill badges important? Why should I care? Well, skill badges help you all practice and training for preparing and taking the Associate Cloud Engineering certification. Now, how cool is that? Earning credentials like these are a great way to show potential employers what you know and what you can do. And now I'll pass the mic off to Ryan, who will give a data and ML introduction.
Sorry about that. Looks like I was muted. Let's go ahead and redo that. So, okay, cool. So now that you have a foundational knowledge about Google Cloud, let's learn a little bit more about machine learning on Google Cloud. So one example problem we might want to tackle is image classification, where we might want to distinguish between photos of puppies and photos of muffins. So one really easy way to go about this would be to set up a simple rule to check whether or not there are eyes in the photo. And if there are eyes, we can call it a photo of a puppy. And if there aren't eyes, then we can call it a photo of a muffin. But sometimes it's not going to be so easy. So now our rule of checking to see if there are eyes in the photo is no longer going to work because we have the blueberry muffins and the blueberries look a lot like eyes. So this shows us that using those hard-coded rules only goes so far in helping us to solve our problem. And we're going to need something a bit more complex for this problem. So here's another sample problem. So we have this sentence. The brown quick fox jumps over the lazy dog. Does anyone know what's special about this sentence? So this sentence is special because it has every single letter of the English alphabet in it from A to Z. And does anyone notice what's wrong about this sentence? So what's wrong is that instead of the brown quick fox, it should actually be the quick brown fox. And does anyone know why that's the case? So the reason for that is that we have these syntax rules for adjective order in English. And with multiple adjectives in the sentence, they're supposed to be in this order, with quantity or number coming first, and then all the way down to purpose or qualifier coming last. So chances are that you don't actually really know these rules all that well. And you just sort of subconsciously know them. So what's happening here is that you basically like picked up these syntax rules over time by observing patterns, by hearing people talk or reading books. You sort of picked up on those patterns and internalized these syntax rules over time without having to ever explicitly memorize them. So that's sort of the general process of learning through experience. And that's very similar to what happens with machine learning. So machine learning is learning from rules plus experience. So here's a nice diagram showing you the differences between classical programming and machine learning. So with classical programming, you take the data and the rules as your input, and you apply the rules to that data to get your answers as the output. But with machine learning, it's a bit different. You start out with the data and the answers to that data as your input, and you sort of work backwards to figure out what the rules are. And then you take those rules and you can apply them to new pieces of data to make predictions. So essentially, you're using past data to help you learn patterns that help you evaluate new data. So what is machine learning? One definition from the IEEE organization says that machine learning is the study of computer algorithms that improve automatically their experience. A simpler definition from one of our Google colleagues is that machine learning is using data to answer questions. So with machine learning, we have three different phases: data collection, model generation, and prediction. So we start out with our training data. We use that to create a predictive model, and then we use that model to predict future results. And as our model takes in more data over time, it can generate more accurate predictions. So with machine learning teaches a computer to make repeated decisions using standard algorithms and lots of data. So machine learning is used a lot at Google for Google products. So one example of machine learning at Google is Google Photos. So does anyone here use the Google Photos app? One of my favorite features of Google Photos is the keyword search. So you can search for all the photos in your collection that are photos of a dog or Hawaii. And Google Photos will use computer vision technology to label different photos based on what Google's machine learning model thinks is going on in each photo. And after training on billions of images, Google Photos predictive model allows you to search for images using keywords without having to manually label those photos at all. Another example is with Gmail Smart Reply. So Gmail Smart Reply automatically gives you suggested replies to incoming emails. So these replies are generated using machine learning, using natural language processing technology. So one of the challenges with AI and machine learning is that very few people actually have the experience to create custom machine learning models and to deploy them. So one of Google Cloud's big goals recently has been to empower more users to take advantage of AI and machine learning, even if they themselves don't have much experience with it. So we want to democratize AI by making it easy, fast, and useful for all developers and users. So one of the Google Cloud products that we're going to highlight today in this workshop is BigQuery, which is Google Cloud's big data database. So BigQuery lets you store and retrieve large data sets. And you can query these BigQuery data sets using mostly standard SQL syntax. There's some small differences, but you can look them up if you need to. BigQuery also has a lot of really great free public data sets available that you can use. So we have COVID-19 data sets for things like case counts, mobility, demographic data sets, and economic data sets. We also have some other interesting ones like the NCAA basketball data sets. So you can learn about past tournaments and games and some cool statistics about them. And also city-specific data sets. So data sets about the city of Seattle, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, and a whole lot more. So BigQuery is accessible in a few different ways. So one of them is via the Google Cloud Console. So the Google Cloud Console is a web portal where you can manage your cloud resources. And one thing you can do with it is you can explore some of these BigQuery data sets. And that's what we're going to do shortly in our workshop. And you can also access BigQuery via your code using our BigQuery client libraries, which are available in a lot of different languages, including Python, Node.js, and Java. So let's watch a quick video about how a group of student developers from Los Angeles used Google Cloud machine learning tools to solve a societal problem in their community.
Hello, my name is Alejandra.
And I'm Erickson.
And we're using machine learning to find potholes on the streets of Los Angeles.
LA has over 7,400 miles of roads and freeways.
That's a lot of roads and a lot of potholes to fix.
Right now, construction workers have to manually inspect roads for dangerous potholes and cracks, or rely on people calling in tips, which takes a lot of time.
While studying at LMU, we started to see if we could figure out a faster way to identify potholes throughout the city.
First, we needed data. So we rigged a camera to a car and we drove around to capture footage of different roads and freeways.
Then, we used TensorFlow, Google's open-source machine learning tool, to develop a model that could quickly identify potholes, road cracks, and other weird stuff with a high rate of accuracy. Which means workers can spend less time finding potholes and more time fixing them.
Cool stuff you can do with Google machine learning to help your community.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Ryan, for that introduction.
Sure.
So let's go over now how to play this game that we're going to be playing. So let's get started. First, we're going to be using an incognito window. Why? Because it'll make everything go so much more smooth. When you're doing these labs, you're going to be assigned a credential, and you should use the incognito window, as that'll make your life very easy. So first, please sign into Quick Labs if you already have an account. If not, go ahead and join. This is our hands-on lab environment where we're going to actually be really using the live Google Cloud Platform ecosystem. And I'm going to go ahead and wait for all of you to click that link, google.quicklabs.com, and either sign in or join. In the live demonstration, I will be showing this part off too, in case anyone has any trouble. So go ahead and sign in and join. Make sure to use an incognito window. Very important. Try to use Chrome browser. Other browsers work, but Chrome browser is just the best for this. It will guarantee a smooth experience. So let's go over how we can change the language to take the labs in. Just in case, if you prefer another language, you can go ahead and click the profile icon in the top right, My Account. There's a blue button called My Account. Go ahead and press that. And then on the left side, maybe this is the left side. I can't tell with the camera. But on the left side, there will be a spot for profile info and then a language field. Then you can select your language and then make sure to update your user to save the changes. Another thing is we can choose our names. So please pick a family-friendly name. We are at SBUHacks, so all the rules apply here. I'd suggest just using your first and last name. That way you don't get into any trouble. So again, no inappropriate names. I recommend just using your real name. And so after you've got all that done, you can go ahead and copy this link into your incognito bar, and the campaign access code that we'll be using today is 2f-edu-cr-sbu. And that's all lowercase. I'll say it one more time, 2f-edu-cr-sbu. And once you've entered the access code, you'll be granted access to the 4 labs and the game. And this is what you should see once you're set up. And so what are the games we're going to play in how to practice? This is data and ML with BigQuery. It has 4 labs. After this workshop is done, you'll need to complete the remaining 3 labs and a game in order to gain your Cloud Hero skill badge. Each time you're in a lab, you're going to be using an anonymous set of credentials, so don't confuse the student logins or the project IDs. So each lab you start, the lab will give you a username and password that's assigned to you for that lab. So don't mix and match these usernames for different labs. And this is the reason why we're using the incognito window. And very important, you will start each lab and get new logins each time. So you must end each lab before going on to the next one. And you can see this GIF illustrates how you can end the lab. And also very important, you will start each lab and get new logins. So after you've ended the lab and started a new one, you can press Start Lab. All right, so we're about to begin. So I hope everyone is ready. A friendly reminder, this portion of the workshop will be re-uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, so in case you want to look back, you can always check back. Last minute pro tip, once we're in the lab, you're gonna see a project ID at the top of your screen, and we're gonna match that with the project ID given to us by the lab. That will just ensure that we're working on the right lab and that our console is in sync with the lab. And let's get started. So I'll start sharing my screen, but before I do, let me explain the timing and scoring. So you get points for each lab you complete, but here's the thing. We are here to learn, but if you want a friendly competition, then be fast and accurate. So the quicker you do the labs, the more points you get. But we will be going through the first lab together. Yeah, and you can redo the lab up to 5 times, and the fastest score will be used. And now I'll begin sharing my screen. So I'll begin sharing my screen and we will go through the first lab together. Here we go. So first, as you can see, I'm in an incognito window, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to google.quicklabs.com. I'm gonna go ahead and join since I don't have an account, and you could fill out the traditional form, but I'm just gonna go ahead and sign in with Google since that's much easier. So here we go. Put in my password. course, always have that two-factor authentication for extra security. And so now we grab the game link from the slides that was given to us, and we'll paste it into our browser. And this is probably what you all should have saw when doing this. And here's the join game. Go ahead and press that. And now we type in the access code that was given to us. Of course, you can copy and paste it. And it was 2f-edu-cr-sbu. And go ahead and join. And this is what we should all see. Okay, so you will see the leaderboard here. And then we can go ahead and press Cloud Hero, Data and ML. And we can start the first lab, BigQuery Quick Start command line. We can skip this video. On the side here, you can see the leaderboard. Okay, so real quick, just to review what Ryan Ryan went over with BigQuery. BigQuery helps us query massive data sets, and it's really helpful because it's super fast and serverless. You can access BigQuery using the console, web UI, or the command line tool. And we can go ahead and skip the setup and requirements since we should be good. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just start the lab here. So when we press start lab, we got to verify that we're not a robot and select the fire hydrants. Cool, we're not a robot. Okay, so on this left-hand side, I hope you all can see my mouse. You'll see the lab gave us a username, password, and a project ID. That's what I was talking about in the slides. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and press Open Google Console, and it opens up a new tab. Can everyone see this new tab? Yeah, okay, it looks good. So it's going to ask us to sign in. Do not use your own account. Go ahead and head back to the lab and grab the username that they give you and paste it in, and then hit next. And then go back and paste in the password that they give you in that left-hand side. Don't use your own account or else you might get charged the payment, and we don't want that. This should be free, and if you've done everything right, it will be free. So go ahead and accept the terms and confirm the account. And it should load us in. And this is the Google Cloud Platform console, which is really, really dope. Select the country that you're in. I'm currently in the United States, so I'll leave it there. And then I'll check off the terms of service, agree, and continue. So as you can see at the top, there's a project ID right here. Just to verify, make sure it matches the project ID on the left-hand side. That way, you know you're on the right track and doing the right thing. Also, on this left-hand side, you can see a whole panel of all the tools that are available to you when you use Google Cloud Platform. And there's just so many cool things. So let's keep going with the lab here. The first step we need to take is activate the Cloud Shell. So we'll go over here. You'll see a box with the arrow and a dash, and once you put your mouse over it, it will say Activate Cloud Shell. So go ahead and press that, and what that's doing, you can go ahead and press Continue as well. So what it's doing is it's starting up a terminal on this virtual computer. And real quick, let's look at the lab and read the instructions. So So we can go ahead and go to the examine table. So yeah, the first thing we'll be doing is examining a table. BigQuery offers a bunch of sample tables that we can run queries against. And just in case if you're wondering what a query is like requesting some data. So let's say you have a lot of data and you want to request data that has a certain feature. You will say, for example, you have a list of big cities with populations. You might ask a query to return the cities with the highest populations, something like that. So here we have we're going to be using a table that has all of Shakespeare's plays, and it has all the words in these plays and how many times they appear in Shakespeare's works. So here's the command we're using, BQ show, and then here is the Shakespeare table. BQ is the program name, the tool name that we're using, which is BigQuery. So BQ stands for BigQuery. Show is the action we're taking, and show what? Show the Shakespeare table. So that's the breakdown of this command. So we can go ahead and paste that into our terminal. And it's going to ask you to authorize. Go ahead and press authorize. And you'll see it returned us some information about the table. So we already knew that show required that one extra argument to specify what table we're looking at. But what if you wanted to run another command, but you don't know what it needs from you? So then you can run BQ space help query. So what this is doing is it's telling us what we need to run the query command. So when we press enter, it tells us how to use BQ query and all the arguments it needs that follow it. And if you want an entire list of commands, you can run BQ help. So let's go ahead and write BQ help, and we'll see in the Cloud Shell a whole list of different actions we can take with BigQuery. So let's actually run a query now. Here, you can go ahead and copy the code that's given to us. Well, not code, the command that's given to us in the box. And what this will do is we're searching for the word raisin in all of Shakespeare's work. And we're using the query command that we just asked help about. So let's go ahead and copy it and paste it into our terminal. And hit enter, and let's see what we get. Awesome. So we get a table that has a few words here. None of them are raisin, interestingly, but each word in this table contains the word raisin. And on the right side of the table, you see how many times this word appears in Shakespeare's work. And awesome. So we just completed our first task. We can go ahead and press check my progress, and we see a green check if we did everything right. So make sure to check your progress every time it asks you to. That way you can progress through the lab. So what if we search for a word that's not in Shakespeare's work? So what we'll do, we'll search the word huzzah. So copy this, and let's see what will happen. And nothing happened because huzzah is not in Shakespeare's works. So that's all good. Let's go ahead and check our progress. Awesome. Now let's create a new table. So first, we're going to run this command, bqls. You can go ahead and copy it and paste it into your terminal. So what this does is it lists all the data sets that we currently have in our project. As you can see, it returned nothing. That's because we don't have any data sets in our project. And so let's list all the data sets in this public data project, public BigQuery-public-data. So go ahead and copy this command, and it's going to list the data sets of another project that BigQuery hosts publicly. And you can see a whole list of data sets that are available to us and some very recent ones as well, which is pretty cool. And you all have access to this throughout this lab. So let's create a data set, and we'll be doing this using the make command. So we can go ahead and copy this command and put it into our terminal. So it says BigQuery, make this data set, and we call it baby names. We're calling it baby names. So we can see it says successfully created the baby names data set. Okay, very cool. So let's go ahead and check our progress again. Awesome. And now let's load some data into our table, because right now it's empty. So we'll run this command wget, and then it has a link. So what this command is doing is downloading a zip file of an entire data set. You do not need to click the blue link to download. You can just download it through this command. So just follow along with me. Copy the command, head over to the Cloud Console, and paste it into the terminal. And as you can see, it just downloaded the entire zip. Awesome. And now let's type in ls, which will list all the files and folders in our working directory. And you can see when we typed in ls, it has names.zip there and a readme.txt, but that was there when you originally create your Cloud shell. Quick pro tip, this command ls works on Mac terminals and Linux terminals, so it's very useful if you're ever using your terminal there. And now we need to unzip the file, so we will run the command unzip names.zip. So go ahead and paste that into your terminal, and whoa, there's so many text files, so many baby names from the year 1880 to 2019. That's crazy. But yeah, so that just unzipped that compressed folder, and we can go ahead and press type in ls into our terminal, and it lists out all the text files we just uncompressed from that zip. Awesome. So let's go ahead and load this data into the table we created by using the bqload command. So bqload will either create a new table or load our data into an existing table. It depends on what we specify. So we're going to create a new table, and we're going to call it names 2010. That's what you see here, table ID. And the source is the yob 2010.txt, which is the baby names from 2010. So go ahead and copy the command under create your table here and paste it into your terminal. And this will load the 2010 baby names into our table. Cool. And just to verify that our sample output matches theirs, yes, it does. Okay, so we can go ahead and check our progress. And nice, we see the green check. We're in business. So now let's run bqls baby names, just to confirm that we have this table. To go ahead and paste it. And let's see. Yeah, we see that table names 2010 that we just created with the load command. And let's go ahead and use show one more time to see the information about our table. So we do bq show, and this time the table we're specifying is babynames.names 2010. And we see the total bytes, the number of rows. Awesome. And we can go ahead and let's start running our first query. Actually, this is our second query. So this query, what it's doing is we're going to get the top 5 popular girls' names. So we can go ahead and copy this and paste it in our terminal. And you'll see in the command, it says it chooses the gender to be female, so that's how we know it's girls' names, and it's ordering it in descending order. That means most popular is first, then the next most popular, then the next one, then the next one, and we limit it to 5. And the table is right there, and we see the top 5 most popular girls' names in 2010. Very cool. That's super interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the next command. And this is the top 5 most unusual boy names. And you can see we just changed a few things in this command. We set the gender to male, and instead of ordering descending order, we're doing ascending order. And let's go ahead and paste that in. And boom, we get the most unique names in 2010 for boys. This is pretty cool. I mean, maybe if you want to find a unique name for your baby in the future, if you ever have kids, this could be a great way to find a name using BigQuery. So let's go ahead and check our progress there. And awesome. Cool. So let's test our understanding. Do you remember what I said in the beginning of this lab, how to access BigQuery? So I said web UI, command line tool, and there's a little trick here. Let's see, wait, this might be right. Oh, it's not right, but hey, you get more tries. And I'm guessing it's BigQuery REST API. Awesome. So which CLI tool is used to interact with BigQuery servers? So basically, what was the first 2 letters we started every command with when we were trying to use BigQuery? And that's BQ, because that's the name of the tool we're using. Go ahead and submit. And now we need to clean up. So let's copy this and let's go back to our terminal and paste it in. Boom. And it's asking us to remove the data set. Press Y and hit enter. So awesome. We have cleaned the data set and removed our table, and we can check our progress here. And congratulations, you finished your first lab in Quick Labs for BigQuery. And now it's up to you guys in a self-paced lab to finish the other 3 and the game, and if you want to win your skill badge. And make sure, very important, to end the lab once you're done. And it says all done, press OK. And yeah, and it's asking me how satisfied. 5 stars. What can I say? This was an amazing experience. So go ahead and press submit. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get back to the slides. And I'll stop sharing my screen. Okay. So now we know how to start and end the lab, and we walked through the first lab together. Let's review how you can see your score in the game. And the score tab demonstrates how well you're doing. So we saw that in our quick lab on the right side, there was the leaderboards and your score. And here is the leaderboard, which we'll have up and we'll give you progress updates. You can also see it when you're in the game and you end the lab. It shows how well you're doing. And note that only top 50 scores appear on the leaderboard, plus your own score. The GCP console has a few areas to know about too. The search bar in the middle allows you to quickly jump to other GCP service pages. The prompt icon to the right of the search bar opens the Cloud Shell, which is a virtual machine in the GCP account, which all the G-Cloud command line tools are already installed. Many challenges can be completed with the GUI console, but some will require the command line, and this is how you get there. The icon of the box with an arrow in at the top is the Cloud Shell pane, which can be used to pop the Cloud Shell out into a new window. And we've got a few ways to help during the game. There's online support 24/7 for quick labs. So you can always press that and get help. There's helpful documentation. Just go to cloud.google.com and yeah, just use Google for help. Awesome. So thank you for joining us. After the game ends, the top scorers will be contacted by email Keep an eye on the leaderboard for the winners. However, you are all winners for your initiative in learning new cloud skills. And a quick plug, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Developer Student Clubs, dsc.sbu. And we have a link tree here, linktr.ee/dsc, oh my God, DSC, sorry, there's a typo on the slide, .sbu, and it has all the links of our chapter that you can visit, and you'll be notified of future events. Next week, we have an awesome Flutter event going on where you can learn mobile development. And thank you so much. This has been a great event. You are all cloud heroes. And I believe we are taking questions. Okay.
Awesome job. Very, very useful contents. And yeah, that was a really cool walkthrough.
Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, just to reiterate, that was the first lab out of a series of 4 labs. So make sure to do the second, third, and fourth labs on your own when you have a chance. And then you'll get that skills badge, which you can show off on your LinkedIn. Yeah, it'll be, and you can also see if you can win the competition as well. Stefan asks, is there a time limit? How long do we have to finish all 4 labs? So this Cloud Hero runs until October 5th at 8:59 p.m. Each of the labs, you can do them multiple times if you want to. And yeah, they have like the time limits, but that should be more than enough time for each lab. And you can always redo them if you want to.
And you're able to redo the labs up to 5 times, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any more questions? Okay.
Cool. I think in that case, we'll probably wrap this up, but feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'll be on the Discord channel for the hackathon, and we can help you out there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.